Welcome back. We made this body last week, and today I want to update it. Let's add in a canopy, maybe something else, a tail or a wing or something. Let's see where we go. But first off, let's update this body, right? So I decided if I go to the right view and I manipulate my view right, that doesn't seem very realistic. And we probably want a smooth transition from point to nose. So what do? First off, I'm going to adjust my loft, and to do that we'll go to loft 9. We're going to edit, right? And I'm going to make sure that sketch 2 is normal, right? Because that was a revolve. And if I make my magnitude something like 8 and I say OK, you'll notice that that doesn't look too different. And why doesn't it? Well, the trick is we need to go back to our loft and make sure that we do not have minimize curvature checked. And of course I specified way too large of a magnitude, so we errored out. So I'll move this 8 down to a 1. And if I go to my right plane now, we have a nice healthy normal to plane. Now this does not look the same as our nose, but that was kind of predetermined that that's how we wanted it, right? So that's our Gripen so far, and I had a comment from someone who I think is from Sweden that told me that it's not pronounced Gripen, it's pronounced Gripen. And I've been following this other guy's YouTube channel for a long time where he talks about military aviation, and he says it Gripen, so I thought for sure I was saying it right. So maybe I should brush up on my Swedish, but this is a Gripen apparently. So with that being said, let's generate to last feature, and that will re-mirror our new body. So we still are symmetric. And now we can get started with, say, how about the canopy? So with that body being created, now we can focus on the canopy. And I think it'd be fair to start my canopy on this plane, which is right in front of where the canopy appears. So with that plane highlighted, I'll activate my 2D sketch. And I'm going to continue my same way of doing half and mirroring. I'm going to add a vertical constraint, from there to there. And a vertical line from here to here. This of course guarantees that there'll be no funny business with lofting later. And let's go with a 3-point spline, something simple. I want to make sure that my sketch doesn't actually leave the body of the plane in this phase. So I'm going to tune this down a little bit, and it looks like I'll hit Control Z to get it back to the regular position. It looks like I'll need to add a little dimension just to make sure this guy is fixed. Now I can probably freely adjust this. And yep, it looks like we are within the body. So I'm going to deactivate that. And let's go to where the peak of our canopy would be. Right, so here's like the very top highest point of the canopy. We'll sketch on that plane. I'll go with a line. And you can always, if your plane doesn't intersect the peak of the canopy, you can always just create a new plane. I'll make this line intersect with the very top of the canopy, right? That should be easy. And let's go with a vertical here to here. That should be fine to use a 3-point spline. We're going to try, and I better make sure that this is fixed too. We'll go with a dimension. That should be fine. We want to make sure that we can just trace this well. And I don't actually like that. I think I need a 4-point spline. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to use this point solely to make sure that I'm ending on horizontal as I try to trace this canopy. And that should be about horizontal. We'll deactivate our sketch. And yep, we're inside the body at the point that we need to be. Let's choose this rear plane now, right? We're going to go to the right, and our canopy ends off right here. And it does look like a loft that they forgot to finish, but that is kind of how the Gripen really is. You have kind of a sharp point right there. So we're going to sketch on this plane now. And the same thing one last time. We'll go straight down to the origin. Actually, I don't need to go all the way to the origin, do I? That could be a little bit of a distraction to the loft. So we'll go from here to here and make sure that we have a vertical relation to the origin. We'll go with another line over here. We'll go with another 4-point spline. 1, 2, 3, 4. This, again, I better remember to start to fix these things, right? So that's probably about the width that we need. I'm going to consult the side here, and I see that I need to move this a little bit higher, right about there, according to the side view. We'll reset our front view, and we'll give a dimension from here to here. We go 0.6 looks fine, and I think that's going to be fine as well. So that would probably be our canopy. Let's do a quick loft and see how it goes. I'll grab sketch 10 and hit the loft button. We'll grab sketch 11 and 12. And yeah, that's looking like a Gripen canopy. I don't necessarily enjoy how much taller it is when it seems to flatten out here. So, how would we fine-tune that if we wanted to? What I would do is, let's create on the YZ plane now, right? The plane running through the middle of the plane. That's kind of funny, plane through the plane. We'll activate a sketch. And I kind of want to hide my body here. So we'll head on over, in fact, to our mirror. And actually, I think it's better to go with changing our draw style over to probably wireframe. Right, now we can see all of our internal sketches. And in this active sketch, I'll head back to the 2D sketch tab. And actually, you know what, let's do a project to sketch. We'll create reference figures. And all I really care that much about is, well, it looks like I can't access my stuff through this, so I'm actually going to cancel. And let's suppress. Actually, let's deactivate our sketch. I want to suppress my mirror. And let's suppress this loft. And now I can see everything that I've made just fine. So we'll go back into the sketch. I think I need to actually go to my YZ plane, create a sketch here. So I want to have hard references that update if I make changes. So we're going to say project to sketch, create reference figure from there, and there, and there, right? I just need those tips. Now I have some reference figures, and of course, look what I've done. I'm going to leave this in, right? I'm going to make sure that people learn from what I've just done. So when I import something, I need to say maintain association to source entity, and then of course, these don't move, right? Can't move. So we'll grab a spline. I'm going to add a point in between every fixed point so that I can better shape this canopy. I'll reset my view. And now I have a good amount of control over this canopy. And that looks like a reasonable outline of the shape of the canopy, so we'll deactivate the sketch. And we have a warning that our sketch is not closed. We'll ignore that. Next, I'm going to unsuppress my loft and unsuppress my mirror. And I'll generate to last feature. There we go. And then I'll go to my view and change my draw style back to, say, shaded, or shaded in all edges is, well, shaded with visible edges is quite nice. Okay. So what's the difference between what I've just done? Let's go back to model. We'll grab loft and sketch 10, 11, and 12. And then I want to choose guide curve and choose sketch 13. Now 13 is guiding the curvature of my loft. And you can see that this loft now goes along this guide curve, which is what we want, right? We wanted that canopy to flatten out a little bit better. Okay, next, you'll see that I have a problem here. I don't like to edit out or plan around possible mistakes like these because it really benefits some of the viewers, at least, to see, working around stuff that doesn't go quite as expected. So we're going to go to sketch 11, and I want to lower this. How about 0.275? And if I do that, well, it affected another part of my sketch that I have to fix, but you'll see at least we have a little bit more consistent faces down here. So going back to sketch 11 of our Gripen now, and this is why dimensions really are so handy. I'll just try to retrace this from what we've lost before. That's looking pretty good. So we'll deactivate that. Now we still have a little imperfection. Well, no, looks like we have a solid edge all the way down. Now I'm not trying to endorse solid edge, mind you. If you get that, leave a comment. Let's go with this loft. We'll mirror and choose our mirror plane to be here. And we have a canopy. So we've been at it for a few minutes. Maybe it would be worth it just to do a tail now. Let's go to the YZ plane. We'll activate a 2D sketch. And before we do a tail, let me pull up a picture of the Gripen. So the Gripen has this sort of backbone here that extends from the back of the cockpit. So since that smoothly goes into the tail, I think it'd be wise to start something like that. Here's another view. You have that sort of backbone that runs to the top. So we do not have a plane that ends kind of at the base of the tail, and that would probably be worth doing. And there's a few ways to approach this. We could run a loft or even an extrude of some kind down here to the base of the tail, and then create the tail as a separate feature. We also could run something all the way down and do the tail kind of all in one go. Either way is fine. I feel inclined to do them separately. So I'm going to create a plane. How about on my XY reference? In fact, I have to deactivate my sketch. I lost my place here. Let's create a plane. We'll choose the XY. And from the distance, I'll reverse that. Of course, old habits on other platforms on how you reverse stuff. We'll go to the right here. And let's say negative 5.6. Maybe we'll edit plane 13 a little bit more. Negative 5.55. And that seems like the right spot. Of course, that seemed to have flipped at the last minute, so we'll click the reverse button. And now our plane's in the right spot. So I'm going to edit in this backbone, which was not present in my other image, and that should be just fine. Since this ends at a planar, I can actually activate a 2D sketch right there. And this time maybe I can do a nice arc. So from here, I'll project a sketch, we'll maintain association and create a reference. And what I'm after is on this edge, I have this nice little imported point right there. So we'll choose a coincident relation. From here, I probably want, in fact, I'll just choose my imported edge and my arc, and we'll choose a tangent relation. I think I selected the wrong number of elements there, so let me jump back in here. Whew. All right, select this edge and here. With both of these things, I'm going to choose tangent. Okay, now that we're tangent, I can choose from here to here a horizontal relation. And I can choose a vertical relation. Oh, maybe not. Yep, that actually does work. And then tangent. Yep, that didn't work actually. Right, so I need to make sure that I'm tangent here. There. So I won't be able to move this point vertical, right? And that's no issue. We'll go to dimension. And 0.1 seems like a nice number. So that would be our backbone moving backwards. And you know what? Maybe 0.05. That makes for kind of a sharper backbone. That's better. We'll go to line from here to here and there. And now I just need to make sure that this line is vertical. And that will be one profile for a loft. And if I take a look at this sort of rear ridge, it sort of gets wider as it goes. And again, I don't necessarily have a very good plane to work off of, so let's create another one. I'll click on the plane button from here, and then I'll move the distance backwards. Go to the right view here. Maybe right about there, right? So we'll apply that and close. We'll activate our 2D sketch. Yeah, I'll reset my view. And now the question is, how much wider do we want to get? This time as we loft, I'll choose a vertical relation. Vertical here, and vertical to the origin. And this time coincident to our last point. Oh, but it looks like I have to import it, right? So we're going to import a reference figure. and we'll maintain dissociation. Won't make the same mistake as last time. There. And that did not update the way that I predicted, so looks like I can just adjust it with my mouse quite easily. From here, we do want this to be wider, so maybe there. Let's go with a dimension 0.085 perhaps, and then relative to its top point something like 0.076 and then doesn't really matter because all this will be inside of the plane. We just care that it gets wider here in this profile, so we'll deactivate the sketch. And now I'm going to use my plane that I just made go into the base of the tail here. We're going to activate that sketch. And if I hit reset view, I can move my view to the back. I want to project a reference figure, and it will be this sketch with maintained dissociation. And largely, actually, you know what, let me delete that. It would be even easier to project. We'll create a sketch figure of this line because we really just want to replicate our sketch. Oh, but I didn't maintain dissociation. You can see my conundrum here. So we're going to create a sketch figure, maintain dissociation. There we go. I'm going to leave that in there so people can see exactly the mistakes that I make. And hopefully that will be helpful to you as well. So we've created that rib. That's pretty good. We'll deactivate a sketch. Now, sketch 14 is this guy up here. So I'm going to loft from sketch 14 to sketch 15 to sketch 16. We're going to make sure that we have a tangent on all of these profiles. And let's see what that looks like. Yep, so we get wider as we do in the actual Gripen. That looks good to me. Next, we'll do a mirror. We want to mirror this loft and across our center YZ plane. There we have it. That's looking pretty good. And that's looking much more photographically accurate. I don't know how to say it. Much more realistic, I guess, than the last model that I made on that this image is based off of. So look at that though. I've got a little bit of an overhang. Glad I caught that. Because we have maintained dissociation, this will be a simple fix. We're going to edit, and I'll actually reset my view to the rear to see a little bit better. Let's go with 0.1. Deactivate the sketch, and if I go to sketch 16, notice it has the exact same profile that updated when we adjusted sketch 15. That's why maintain association is so nice. And look at that, we are much better. We even have a luxury of, if we want to, doing a fillet, let's say 0.01 or something small, and we have a nice now smooth transition. I'm going to get rid of this fillet. It's probably better to be added after everything is all done for numerous reasons. No matter what platform you're using, it is probably a great idea to fillet at the very end, whether you're using FreeCAD or SolidWorks or Alibre or Creo. In fact, the Creo people in some of their training material come right out and tell you, you know, they call it rounds instead of fillets, but rounds go at the very end. So anyway, there's a nice backbone. We can work on the tail or the wing or something else in the next video. I'm kind of getting on in this video. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.